What you're about to hear is one of the most shocking security incidents in modern American political history. Tonight at the White House Correspondents Dinner, one of the most heavily guarded events on the entire Washington social calendar, shots were fired. Donald Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and multiple cabinet members had to be rushed out of the building by Secret Service agents. And within minutes, CNN confirmed that a gunman was dead. This wasn't a drill. This wasn't a rumor. This happened live, in real time, in front of thousands of guests, journalists, politicians, entertainers, all seated in the same room as the President of the United States. The footage is already going viral. People are shaken, and frankly, the entire country should be asking one very serious question tonight. How did someone with a weapon get that close? Let's set the scene for you. The White House Correspondents' Dinner was well underway at the Washington Hilton Hotel in Washington, D.C. Trump had just been introduced on stage alongside a mentalist entertainer. Melania was beside him. The crowd was buzzing. It looked like any other year, glamorous, political, and televised. And then everything changed. Within minutes of Trump being seated, according to multiple eyewitnesses, shots rang out. Not one, not two. Reporter Katie Pavlich, formerly of Fox News and now with News Nation, said she counted approximately 5 shots from where she was sitting. Pop, 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 before everyone in the room immediately hit the floor. Secret Service moved fast. Trump, Melania, and at least some cabinet members were swiftly escorted out. The room that had been full of laughter moments before was suddenly full of fear. CNN anchor Caitlin Collins was inside the ballroom when this all went down. She got on her phone and began relaying information directly from Secret Service to CNN, and through CNN to the rest of the world. She confirmed what many feared. The shooter was dead. Meanwhile, CNN's own Jake Tapper, also in attendance, told viewers that people were jumping under tables, that the panic was immediate and real. Tapper's language was slightly more cautious. He said the shooter was stopped, not killed. That difference in wording created some confusion in the early minutes of this breaking story. But Collins, speaking directly from what Secret Service told her, held firm. The gunman had been killed. 2 reporters, 2 accounts, both credible. And in that gap between stopped and killed, you get a sense of just how chaotic and uncertain those first minutes truly were inside that hotel. Here's what makes this even more alarming. The shooter never made it into the ballroom. According to early reports from Secret Service, confirmed through multiple journalists on the ground, the gunman was intercepted in the lobby of the Washington Hilton. That's a critical detail, because it means he got past the outer layers of security. He was inside the building, and that, by any standard, should not have been possible. Former Obama speechwriter and Pod Save America co-host Jon Favreau put it bluntly on social media, writing, and I'm quoting here, "My God, I can't imagine how someone with a gun could get into an event with this level of security. Insane." That sentiment echoed across Washington tonight. Sam Stein of The Bulwark called it one of the most secure dinners of the entire year. Multiple security screenings, multiple checkpoints, and still, somehow, a man with what appeared to be a rifle and magazines made it through. Perhaps the most gripping first-hand account of the night came from Wolf Blitzer, one of CNN's most veteran anchors. He had stepped away from the ballroom to use the restroom, walking up a staircase and through a hallway. And as he was walking back toward the main event, he heard it. Gunshots, right there, in the hallway, feet away from him. He said, and again this is a direct quote, "A police officer threw me to the ground and was on top of me." He described the sound as deafeningly loud in that enclosed space. He said the gunman had what he called a very serious weapon. Officers then dragged Blitzer into the men's room where about 15 other men were already being held for safety. They weren't allowed to leave. Wolf Blitzer, a man who has reported from war zones, from disaster sites, from some of the most dangerous news events in the world, said this was very, very scary. A Wall Street Journal source added even more detail to the picture. A dinner guest named Aaron Thielman, identified as a military veteran, had left the ballroom to make a phone call to her son. Standing in the hallway, she heard 3 loud bangs, sounds she immediately recognized as gunfire, and then she saw it. A man fell flat right in front of her. He was carrying what appeared to be a rifle, along with magazines. That description lines up directly with what Wolf Blitzer described as a very serious weapon. This wasn't a handgun tucked under a jacket. This person came to that hotel with serious firepower, and the fact that Secret Service neutralized the threat before he could enter that ballroom where the president, the vice president, and dozens of top cabinet officials were seated is the only reason we're not talking about something far, far worse tonight. Let's talk about who exactly was inside that building, because the scope of what could have happened is genuinely staggering. President Trump and First Lady Melania, Vice President JD Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, Education Secretary Linda McMahon, who, remarkably, was standing right next to CNN's Caitlin Collins as Collins was reporting live via phone, Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, FBI Director Kash Patel was reportedly spotted in the crowd. House Speaker Mike Johnson was also in attendance and was evacuated by security officials as the shooting unfolded. Democratic Congressman Jared Moskowitz took to social media to personally thank law enforcement and specifically called out Republican Congressman Steve Scalise, yes, the man who himself survived an assassination attempt, for grabbing him and pulling him into a secure room. As with any fast-moving breaking news situation, the details were shifting by the minute. Journalist Adam Cochran flagged it directly. There were mixed reports coming from Secret Service itself. Some said the shooter was killed. Others said the shooter was in custody. CNN's Caitlin Collins was reporting dead. Jake Tapper used the word stopped. Wolf Blitzer said they got him, language that could mean either. The Associated Press confirmed that both Trump and Vice President Vance were uninjured. That much was solid. But the status of the shooter, that remained officially unclear as of this report. What is not unclear is the severity of the moment. A gunman breached the security perimeter of an event housing the President of the United States. That is not a minor incident. That is a massive, historic, and deeply disturbing security failure, regardless of how tonight ultimately ends. Tonight is going to go down as one of those moments people remember exactly where they were. The White House Correspondents Dinner, normally a night of jokes, celebrity cameos, and political theater, turned into a live security crisis watched by millions in real time. Trump is safe, Melania is safe, JD Vance is safe, the gunman is down. But the questions that remain are enormous. How did this person get in? What was the motive? What were they carrying? And how close did this come to being something unimaginably worse? We will continue to follow this story and bring you updates as confirmed information comes in. If you want to stay ahead of breaking stories like this one, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. Because when news moves this fast, you need a source that moves with it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think happened tonight?